Welcome to Scorched Earth. This is going to be a general reading for the sign of Virgo, Sun, Moon and Ascendant. If you don't know what your Moon and Ascendant signs are, have a look in the description box below. There's a link down there that will help you. I am taking personal readings at the moment, but I'm working on a backlog, so if you get in touch, just be patient. I will get around to you, but it might be a week or so before I reply. What else to tell you? There's a Mercury retrograde coming up in the month of February. Don't panic. It's not a big deal as long as you ride with the energy. So don't start anything new. And if old people, situations, emotions come up in that month, then use it as an opportunity to close that out properly, because that's what it's there for. Right? And other than that, there's nothing really to say other than thank you for all your messages, your comments, your likes, your subscribes, your donations. I appreciate every last one of you greatly. Very, very much. So, let's get 3 cards for Virgo. 3 cards for Virgo for February, please. Ooh. First card is the King of Cups. That's the Water King. So Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. Interesting. Another card for Virgo, please. What's going on with Virgo right now? I'm going to take that. You've got 3. I'm going to show them to you because they've jumped out all together, but I'm going to put them back in because I only want 1. We've got Temperance, which is the card of Sagittarius. We've got the 10 of Cups, and we've got the Moon. The Moon is the card of Cancer, and it talks about things that are hidden. More often than not, it talks about the subconscious for me. So maybe there's stuff going on underneath that you need to look at. Who knows? 1 card for Virgo right now, please. There we go. We've got the Queen of Pentacles. That's you right there. Well, actually, strictly it's Capricorn, but it's the Earth Energy Queen, so it's you. I have 1 more card for Virgo. What's coming up for Virgo in February, please? Away. 3 have flipped. We've got the King of Wands, the Queen of Swords, and the Chariot, which is interesting. Chariot's another card of Cancer, so that's the 2nd time a Cancer card's come out. Anyway, what's coming up for Virgo at the end of February? It's the Knight of Pentacles. That's definitely you. Talks about slow, methodical movement forwards. Oh my God, Queen of Wands. What's coming up for Virgo? There we go. 5 of Swords. That's interesting. Talks about difficult conversations, I would say. At the bottom of the deck, we've got the 3 of Pentacles. That talks about working together with other people. Right, which deck do I want to use to clarify? The Marigold. Super. I love this deck so much. My son bought it for me for Christmas. Boy done good. Right. Where's the King of Cups here, please, for Virgo? 2 of Rings. That's the 2 of Pentacles in the standard deck. That's Earth Energy, like you. Where's the King of Cups here? And the 10 of Rings. That's the 10 of Pentacles. There's 2 Pentacles cards there. It's your energy. Where's the Queen of Pentacles here, please? Virgo. Got the Hierophant. That's the card of Taurus right there. In the Major Arcana, it's numbered 5. There's the Queen of Pentacles here. 4. Knight of Wands, Queen of Cups, and 3 of Swords. Okay. There's a Queen of Pentacles here. 3 Three of Swords again, right? So it talks about heartbreak. It's air energy. Card that dropped out that I'm not going to take because I don't take droppers. I'm going to show it to you anyway. It's the Eight of Cups. It talks about moving away from situations, circumstances that don't fulfill you emotionally. So what's this Five of Swords all about? Why is the Five of Swords here for Virgo? Four of Rings. Yeah, it's Four of Pentacles. There's a lot of Pentacle energy here, which is good because that's your energy. But it's looking quite sad. Right. There's fucking hell. There's a Five of Swords here. That one. Queen of Pentacles. Again, that's you. Right, on the bottom of the deck we've got the Queen of Cups. Right there. She's the Water Queen. And we have the Water King out on the table as well. Right. Sort of slightly baffling, so let's get into it. So, in your recent past, we've got the King of Cups. Now, as well as being the Water King, and strictly he's Scorpio, but he can indicate Cancer and Pisces, and it doesn't have to be a man, it can be a woman as well. And more than that, it doesn't even have to be a person, it can be an energy. And I feel like it is an energy right here, right? The King of Cups is a man who is very much in touch with his emotions, right? Or it's an energy of someone who is very much in touch with their emotions. And look at all that water at the back of the card there, right? That's a pure maelstrom of emotions. But the important thing is that this king right here, he's sat on his throne. And he's kind of like, he's got half an eye on the water there. He knows it's there. He knows it exists. He knows that he's capable of great emotion. But he's not ruled by it, right? He's not going to get washed off this throne by the weight of his emotions. Yeah, there's fish slopping around and there's a ship in the background that's slopping around. But his cup is very firmly in front of him, in front of his throne. It's like in a little pool of water right there. Yeah. He's comfortable with his emotions. He's open. He's receptive. He's emotionally available. And this is in your recent past. So this could be a person, or maybe this is you. Maybe this is something new that you found about yourself. Because the two cards that we've got that underpin this energy right here are the Two of Rings and the Ten of Rings, right? Pentacles in a standard suit. And all twos are internal, right? They speak of the internal world. And this card depicts two hands held up almost in prayer, which is quite different to how it's usually depicted. Usually we've got a very similar scene to this here, but there's a person and they're juggling pentacles and balancing and not looking very happy about it. It's very difficult for them, right? It's easy for the King of Cups here. But this is quite different. It's got a very different feel to it. And it feels like they're held aloft almost in prayer. There's a deep longing about this card. You know, these two hands are like this. Usually I can't really tell whether it's two hands from different people clasped together or whether it's one in prayer, but I'm looking at it here and it's looking like it's one person. And rather than rings on the fingers like it is depicted in some of the other cards that we have out here, they're around the wrist. They kind of look like handcuffs. I'm hearing shackled, like there's a shackling together here. It actually feels like quite a trapped energy right there. Like the hands are clasped together because, you know, they're kind of connected down here, and if you try to pull them apart, it would be really, really difficult. I'm going to pull some more cards for this in a second, but There's a longing and there's a hope, and it's attached to this King of Cups. Maybe you've been hoping for someone to be more emotionally open with you. Maybe you have been trying to work on being more emotionally open yourself, but you're struggling. And then we've got the Ten of Pentacles. Now, generally, this is considered to be like one of the best cards in the pips. You know, this and the Ten of Cups. This talks about complete material fulfillment, really. You know, it's the nice house, the good job. You know, 2.4 children, or however the ratio goes. You know, it's living comfortably in there. And because it's a 10, there's lots of effort that's gone into this, right? This 10 of Pentacles doesn't usually appear overnight. Sometimes it can with an inheritance or something like that, and that's often given to be the inheritance card. But more often than not, it's as a result of a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of work that's gone into creating a 10 of Pentacles situation, right? It's a card of commitment then because of that. So it feels like these two cards here, I'm getting a sense of, I'm getting really strong fear about a sense of impending loss. And it's something to do with there's got an emotional component to it. Either you have tried to be more emotionally open, or someone else is trying to be more emotionally open, but it's been with the hope of retaining this situation, or however that pertains to you, right? Do I want to pull another? I will pull another card for that. And I'm going to use this deck, just because I'm getting a kind of, not a dark feeling off it, but a very fearful feeling from it. Get in there. Just give them a shuffle. This is the Deviant Moon deck, by the way. It's actually what I use for shadow work, because it's quite visually jarring. Tell me more about Two of Rings and the Ten of Rings, please. Two of Rings and Ten of Rings. Maybe stairs. Two of Rings. Fuck my life. Want to do that? Okay, yeah. So the two cards that we've got are the High Priestess and the Hermit. Okay, look at those cards there. The Hermit is your card. High Priestess is the card of Pisces, but it talks about intuition. It talks about deep hidden knowledge. And these two together, because the Hermit is a card of the internal as well. This is either your internal space right now, and if it is, well, not right now, in the recent past, touching on the present. And if it is, that's a really uncomfortable place to be. Or it's like having spent some time analysing, ruminating, going within, what the High Priestess is telling you is that you're kind of desperate to keep hold of this. The card you've got for the present is the Queen of Pentacles, and that's you, right? And it's really good that you are here, slap bang in the centre of your reading, because that's where I like to see all of the signs. The Queen of Pentacles is a mother. She's a nurturer. You know, she's, of all of the queens, I think she's the one who keeps home the best, right? Sorry about my creaky stool, by the way. Some people in the comments have said it's awful. I'm going to fix it today. I'm going to do that. Usually on the Queen of Pentacles, in the standard Rider-Waite, which is around somewhere, like, I always think that she looks quite sad. Like, she's got a pentacle in her hand and she's looking down at it, and it's like she understands the value of it, but there's something about the situation that makes her quite sad. This queen here, because it's a crow, it's kind of sitting atop the pentacle right there. But what my eye is drawn to more than anything else is this butterfly that I've never noticed on the side of the card, and it's sitting on top of, it looks like it's sitting on top of a stick, actually. Maybe a wand, something like that, right? And butterflies are all about transformation, right? They're the most profound expression of transformation that there is, symbolically speaking, because you take something that's a little wriggly caterpillar and then it literally dissolves itself into a goo before reconstructing itself as a butterfly. An incredibly impressive thing. And then we've got this, I guess it's a moon actually, but it looks like a world to me at the top there. Like these two symbols on this card are the ones that are drawing my eye to them. Now, if it's the moon, then that would make a lot of sense, because moons speak about intuition, they talk about the internal world, right? They talk about the subconscious, and here are two cards that are talking about deep inner work. And your reading last month spoke of a deep, really profound transformation that was incoming, and here are these two symbols that I'm looking at right here. But what seems to be prompting it are these two cards here. We've got the Hierophant and we've got the Three of Swords. Now, if you're dealing with a Taurus, right, it's possible that this Taurus has broken your heart, but the Hierophant can also speak of other things. It can speak of institutions, it can talk about work, sometimes it can talk about business, it can talk about spiritual guidance, it can talk about any kind of situation where you have someone at the top who disseminates information to people below them. So it can then talk about schools, it can talk about, you know, any kind of rigid office hierarchy, something like that. But it can also talk about the institution of marriage. Now, you've got to take this as it you know, resonates with you. But it seems what is prompting your transformation is a deep sadness and a deep unhappiness about this Hierophant, right? Whether that's a marriage, or whether that's your work situation, or whether that's a Taurus who's stomping around in your environment somewhere, it's broken your heart, right? And this is prompting a massive transformation, which makes me think that it's something that's kind of written into your karmic contract somewhere, because that's what these things do. You know, the really awful situations, the ones that you're never quite sure if you're going to be able to get through or not, those are the ones that trigger the most profound growth. And it seems like you are in the midst of something like that at the moment. I'll pull another card for it, since this Deviant Moon seems to be right on point today. Tell me more about the Hierophant and the Three of Swords, please. Hierophant and the Three of Swords. We've got the Eight of Swords, right? So you're feeling very stuck at the moment. I would say quite possibly that you are stuck in the goo stage, right, of your transformation. Still kind of afraid to look at what's going on internally, certainly, but possibly externally as well. This moon here, up in the corner, it's sucking on her head, right? Or maybe it's blowing into her head. Maybe, I don't know, she looks like she's being sucked backwards. Like the moon is having an effect on the internal workings of her brain as well. Three of Swords, Page of Swords, yeah. So then we've got the Page of Swords. Now, Page is a messenger, right? He brings information. Well, he delivers information between the kings, you know, like messages. He's an envoy. But the Page of Swords particularly, because he governs communication, talks about discovering information, being given a message, being told something. But because it's the sword suit, and this is the second swords card that we've got to clarify these two cards here, it's about words, it's about communication, it's about thought patterns, thought processes. There's a sense of reprogramming needing to occur, and it looks like your intuition is doing some of the work for you there anyway. The final card you've got is the Lovers, and that's a choice, right? It seems like you're being pushed to make a choice. It's also the card of Gemini, so there might be a Gemini involved. Like this reprogramming of your brain that's going on over this heartbreak here, and whatever the Hierophant means to you, is pushing you towards making a choice. And this moon up in the corner there, look, it's doing the same thing. It's sucking in the same way, like more internal influence. What I was actually going to point out was this snake biting the man's leg at the bottom of there. And snakes talk about wisdom, not just knowledge, because knowledge is just the knowing of things. Wisdom is the ability to be able to apply those things. Like this is more really intense, transformational stuff that you are going on at the moment. And I feel like it's all really, really internal. I don't know if there's any indication externally that this is something that you're going through. Right? It's all going on inside you right now. The final card that you've got is the Five of Swords. Right? So being a swords card, we're talking about words, we're talking about communication, we're talking about the intellect, logic, all those sorts of things. But it's a 5, so it talks about change. It talks about really uncomfortable change. And there are lots of different ways of interpreting this card, and sometimes we can talk about someone who says anything to win. You know, we've got one crow holding some swords there, and 2 others have flown away. You know, there's 2 deceased right there. Right, and those crows have flown away because there's no point in engaging in this. Right, they're going to lose more than they're going to win. So they've just dropped their swords and they've gone. But I don't feel like that's quite the case here. Like this feels like a really difficult conversation that you're going to have at some point, and maybe it's this choice. Maybe this is you finally letting out everything in your head to somebody else. But it's 5 of Swords. It's going to be a hard conversation. The 2 cards that you've got underneath to clarify that are the 4 of Rings and the Queen of Rings. Pentacles again. So the 4 of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles. This same Queen here. Now, usually the 4 of Pentacles talks about holding on too tight to things, right? In a standard depiction, you've got a chap and he's got a foot on either, pentacle there, and he's clasping one in front of him, and there's one literally mounted on top of his crown, right? And he's holding on really, really hard to it, and it's fear. Fear underlies that card, because if he lets go of that pentacle, he's terrified that he'll never get it back again, so he's holding on to it. It's sometimes called the miser card, and because it's pentacles, it can be resources of any description, right? So it could be money, right? But I find that a fairly flat interpretation. It's an underlying fear of letting go of something because it won't come back to you. That's the fear. But this depiction is slightly different, because it's got 4 hands and they're all kind of reaching for each other, but I get a distinct sense of them kind of slipping away. And then we've got this moon here in the background again, like the one symbol that seems to be being repeated across all of these cards is a moon. Internal, subconscious. It seems like this conversation is you bringing out this here. I mean, even one of these arms down here has a sword on it right there. Communication. The Ace of Swords, as it is, because there's just one, is the truth. It's the absolute truth. With the palm on the hand next to it having an eye open. I think that this is you finally consciously processing the truth and delivering it to somebody else. These hands are slipping away, and then there's you again. You're all over this reading, which is good. It's exactly as it should be. Oh, turn these over. but it doesn't really give us more information. Except that this one, and like I said, you know, the Queen of Pentacles is usually holding a pentacle and she's kind of gazing at it and stuff like that, you know, there's a sense that she knows how precious it is, but it makes her sad. You remember what I said? So this one's holding it above her head and it looks literally like she's about to launch it. Yeah? It's quite an aggressive stance that she's got there. Like, and so it feels like, you know, neither of these queens actually, now I'm looking at them, neither of these queens are actually nursing this pentacle. Neither of them are actually nurturing it. This one's stood on it, and this one's about to yeet it out of the window. May I please have a card before it brings the Queen of Wands? Fuck my life. Right. You've got the Two of Pentacles, but it came out in reverse. We've got the Ace of Pentacles and the Moon again. The Ace of Pentacles is a new start, right? It's a solid new start, and it's your suit, it's Earth. This is talking about you making a new start. And then we've got the Moon, the things that are hidden again. But instead of the moon blowing or sucking onto the characters, this one is literally using the characters like marionettes, like that. Which makes me feel like it's the moon is bringing things to the fore. Right, it's bringing your internal thoughts out, and now you're making people pay attention to your inner world, like dance to the beat of your drum for a change. All of these together suggest a breakup of some description, right? The Two of Cups is about two people, and it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. Like this can be a split of any sort. But when you get two characters together here, right, they can be siblings, they can be friends, they can actually even be work colleagues. You know, take it as it resonates to you. But that's two people who are on the same page, right? They think the same thing, they've got the same goals, there's a shared vision, and they're coming together to make something happen. This way around, it is a cessation of that energy right there. And then we've got this new start right here, rather fearsome new start actually, I would say. Look at the state of that. And then this, and I'll pull one more card. This is quite heavy, Virgo, fucking hell. One more card. Four of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles. The Tower. Now, that's the card of Scorpio right there. Maybe there's a Scorpio involved, but it's about bringing down things that are not built to last, right? When the Tower energy comes in, it's sudden and it's shocking, and it just wipes away a shitload of stuff. And the idea is you wait for the dust to settle, and then you consider whether it's worth rebuilding the tower, whether if you're going to rebuild it, you're going to build it the same shape that it was, you're going to build it with the same people that you built it with before, whether you're going to fucking move it and put it somewhere else. And although it's a really uncomfortable energy, it is always for your own good, for your higher good. Because whatever it is, whatever this structure represents, it was built incorrectly, or it hasn't been maintained. You know, it's faulty. And rather than you just losing two characters here, maybe you might lose an entire city. You know, they're there having a celebration about something, right? Oh. Ten of Swords. It's the end of a cycle right there. I mean, that card. totally speared. But it is the rock bottom. Right? It's the end. Cannot go any lower than the Ten of Swords. And in a standard depiction, there's a man lying dead on the floor, and he's literally like speared with all the swords. But his head is turned towards the dawn, right? Because things are always darkest before the dawn. Things are hard now, but this is literally the end. It doesn't get any harder than this. Once you get through this, the only way to go is up. Right, I'm going to pull some advice cards for you because I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't, because it seems like you're really going through something here at the moment, and it's hard. I feel tight around the chest with the stress of it. I have some cards of advice for Virgo, please. Ooh, Ace of Swords. Page of Pentacles. Oof. Holy shit. I'm not taking all of those. That was the Moon and the King of Swords. Another one. Right. One more card of advice for Virgo, please, for February. That's the one. King of Swords again. That's the one that I actually wanted to come out. Right. Ace of Swords, Page of Pentacles, King of Swords. Right. Move forwards only with the truth. Right there. Right. You're going to know it when you hear it. You're going to know it when you feel it. You're going to know it when you say it. If it's not true, don't say it. And if you hear something that isn't true, challenge it, right? Because you've got this victory, the laurel wreath right there around the top of the sword, right? The truth will set you free. That's what I'm seeing there. Like, it's liberating. Page of Pentacles, right? This is the page that understands the value of stuff, right? But he's also a card of new starts, right? There was a point where this page had never seen a pentacle before, right? And now he's looking at it, and it's the most beautiful thing he's ever seen, and he's going to move forwards with that and create as many pentacles as he possibly can. He's going to make it his life's work, right? Whatever the pentacle is to you, you know. It's the card of the student as well, you know, because he's completely obsessed with the pentacle and because he wants to make more. And that's not in a kind of materialistic sense. It's, you know, whatever the pentacle is for you. And that could just be a certain way of living your life. That could be possibly a new job, you know, new education, all that sort of thing, or just a new direction altogether. But it's about hunkering down and learning everything that you possibly can about that thing to move off in a new direction right there. And then you've got the King of Swords. It's the Air King, right? Strictly Aquarius, but it can be Gemini or Libra as well. But what this dude does is communicates really, really well. And coming up with the Ace, it's a really strong pairing right there. He's absolutely consumed with things being just and right. Yeah. So he behaves with integrity all the time. Obviously, that goes without saying. But he's a really masterful communicator, right? Speak your truth. Speak it clearly so that it will be understood and there is no room for maneuver anywhere. But he also pushes his emotions to the side, right? And you've been deep in some emotional stuff right here. Right? It's time to shake that off. It's time to start thinking logically. It's time to start thinking, you know, with reason about how you move forwards, because you are moving forwards. You've got an ace here. It's the second ace that's on the table, right? You've got a card of new starts here, and you've got a card of making really logical decisions about how you move forwards. Your ace is there as well. Like, whatever this is to you, like, don't sit in it for much longer, because you've got stuff to do. Your transformation is incoming. You need to embrace it. As difficult as it feels, this is how we grow. This is how we truly expand out of our comfort zone. And it feels like you've been really shoved out of your comfort zone. So if this has resonated with you in any way, I'd love it if you like the video. I understand that you probably won't want to comment necessarily because this is hard and this is deep. So I get that. If you want to send me a message, by all means do. Yeah, but best of luck, and I'll see you in about a fortnight for the February mid-months. Okay, take care.